I was 36 years old when I destroyed everything I thought I wanted. From the outside, my life looked perfect. I had been married to Ethan for 11 years. We lived in a beautiful house outside Seattle. No children by choice. We traveled often, hosted dinner parties, and people constantly told us we were relationship goals. What nobody knew was that we barely spoke anymore. Our marriage had become a business arrangement. Ironically, business was exactly what ruined us. Ethan owned a rapidly growing software company with his best friend and business partner, Lucas. Lucas had been with Ethan since college. They built the company together from a tiny garage office into a business worth millions. I never imagined I'd become the reason it all collapsed. Lucas was everything Ethan used to be: confident, funny, attentive. Whenever Ethan buried himself in work, Lucas noticed me. He'd ask if I needed another drink during company parties. He remembered my birthday. He listened. At first, I thought he was just kind. Looking back, he was studying me. One evening after a company fundraiser, Ethan stayed behind to deal with investors. Lucas offered to drive me home. During the ride, he said something that changed everything. You deserve someone who actually sees you. I laughed it off, but those words stayed in my mind for weeks. It started with coffee, then lunches, then long conversations. We never planned for it to become an affair. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. 3 weeks later, Lucas kissed me in the parking garage beneath his office. I should have walked away. Instead, I kissed him back. For the next 3 months, we lived two completely different lives. By day, professional, respectable. By night, secret hotels, weekend business trips, deleted messages, hidden phones. Every lie became easier. One night, Lucas said something unexpected. This isn't just about us anymore. I frowned. What do you mean? He leaned closer. Ethan is making terrible financial decisions. He refuses to expand. He won't listen. Then he lowered his voice. We could take control. At first, I laughed. I honestly thought he was joking. He wasn't. Lucas believed Ethan had become weak. He thought the company deserved better leadership. And somehow, he convinced me that I deserved better too. The takeover wasn't illegal. At least, not on paper. Lucas explained corporate voting, investor influence, board members, ownership percentages. If enough shareholders sided with Lucas, Ethan could actually lose control of his own company. Lucas wanted my help, not financially, emotionally. He needed information. What Ethan worried about, which investors he trusted, what deals he was considering. At first I resisted, then I started talking. Little details, nothing important. Or so I believed. Soon I wasn't just cheating, I was spying. Lucas asked innocent questions. Did Ethan mention the merger? What bank is financing expansion? Has he signed anything yet? I answered. Every time. Because Lucas always made it sound harmless. We're partners. I deserved to know. I convinced myself he wasn't stealing secrets. He already owned half the company, didn't he? Lucas painted an incredible future. Once he became CEO, we'd finally be together. He promised vacations, a beach house, a fresh start. He even talked about marriage. For the first time in years, someone made me feel chosen. I ignored every warning sign. He never introduced me to friends. He never stayed overnight. He always controlled where we met. Whenever I asked difficult questions, he changed the subject. I called it mystery. It was manipulation. Everything happened on a Tuesday morning. The board meeting was scheduled for 10. Lucas was confident. He smiled before walking inside. This will all be over today. I waited anxiously. At noon, nothing. At 1, nothing. Finally, Ethan called. His voice sounded strangely calm. Can you come to the office? The moment I arrived, I knew something was wrong. Security guards stood outside. Employees whispered. Lucas was gone. Ethan sat silently in the conference room. Across from him were lawyers, accountants, federal investigators. Then someone handed me a folder. Inside were hundreds of printed messages. Mine, Lucas's, hotel receipts, photos, financial records, everything. I couldn't breathe. Ethan looked exhausted. Not angry, just broken. He quietly asked, "How long?" I whispered, 3 months. He closed his eyes. I already knew. Lucas never wanted me. He wanted access. The investigators explained everything. While distracting everyone with the attempted takeover, Lucas had quietly transferred company assets through shell corporations. He'd forged approvals, created fake invoices, moved millions. The board meeting wasn't about removing Ethan. It was the perfect distraction. By the time anyone noticed, Lucas had disappeared. With nearly $12 million, the company froze operations. Banks suspended financing, clients panicked. Employees quit. Lawsuits began immediately, although Ethan hadn't stolen anything. His company became toxic overnight. Investors walked away. Within 4 months, the business declared bankruptcy, years of work gone. Hundreds lost their jobs. Families suffered because of one man's greed and my stupidity. Ethan never screamed. He never insulted me. He simply filed for divorce. During mediation, he said only one sentence: I could forgive cheating. I can't forgive betrayal. That sentence still echoes in my head. I signed everything. The house was sold. Savings disappeared into legal fees. Neither of us truly won. Authorities searched for Lucas across multiple countries for months. Nothing. Then someone spotted him overseas, using another name, living comfortably. But international investigations take time. Money disappears. Evidence fades. Whether he ever truly paid for what he did, I still don't know. Sometimes I wonder if he laughs about all of us. Today I rent a small apartment. I work an ordinary office job. Nobody there knows my past. Sometimes coworkers complain about their marriages. They complain about long hours, about feeling ignored. I always stay quiet because I know where resentment can lead when you feed it instead of facing it. People ask whether I regret the affair. That's the wrong question. Of course I regret it. But the affair wasn't the first mistake. The first mistake was silence. Instead of talking honestly with my husband, I searched for validation elsewhere. Instead of leaving a marriage that felt empty, I lied. Then I kept lying until the lies became bigger than my life. Ending. If you're watching this because you're unhappy, remember something I learned far too late. A secret relationship built on deception doesn't create a better future. It only hides the cracks until everything collapses. I thought I was helping build a new life. Instead, I helped destroy 3 lives, a successful company, and the trust of everyone who believed in us. And in the end, the man I betrayed disappeared with the money. The man who loved me lost everything. And I was left with nothing but the truth I had spent months trying to hide.